Understanding light and its role in making our paintings have depth and look 3D is the #1 thing new artists get wrong. And if that's you, let me show you how to do it right. In this video, we are going to be learning the correct way to light our subject matter and what rules the shadows will follow in different scenarios: direct light, shadow light, and reflected light. And yes, there is light in shadows. My name is Chris Kempter, and I've been painting for just over 8 years at this point. In this video, we're mainly going to be focusing on how lighting works and the rules that it follows. But if you want a more fundamental, basic tutorial, you can check this video out on how to draw basic 3D shapes. Sometimes it's good to start with a pencil to understand some of these more basic fundamental lessons. Anyway, let's divide this video into 3 parts. Part 1 is about direct light and what value to paint in relation to your shadows and background. Part 2 will be about your shadows and where to place them, as well as the correct undertone colors and how to mix them to get great contrast. Part 3 will be all about bounce light and how it works, which is my personal favorite and the most satisfying part of shading in my opinion. And as a bonus, we'll be discussing some color theory throughout this tutorial, but only as much as is absolutely necessary because I'm going to be doing a full video on that later. Part 1, direct light. For this example, we'll be using an apple as our shape. Fruits are great to use in these examples. Apples, grapes, pears, etc. Something simple that doesn't have a ton of texture or details. We are doing a study on light, and we aren't trying to go full detail hobo. Never go full detail hobo. I'm using acrylic paint for this example, and the colors I'm using are black, white, cashew, burnt umber, violet, and scarlet. I set this still life example up to give us a lot of dramatic lighting and to help us differentiate between the 3 parts of light we are going to be studying in this video. Normally, we would start with a neutral middle tone color for the background, but for this example, we are going to have a pure black for the background to really accentuate the drama in the foreground. Once you get your subject matter set up and your lighting like you want it, it's time to paint some light. My light is a single source that is mildly soft coming in from the right of the apple, meaning our shadow will be slightly blended instead of a sharp line. Because my apple is a spherical object and we have a single light, it will hit the reflection apex in a single spot, meaning the top of my tonal range will be concentrated to this area. That will be where we put our highest highlight color. Everything else will be lower down on the color value scale. And here's a scale to show you what I mean. The closer to pure white our color gets, the higher on the scale it is. The lower the color is on the scale, the darker. If it helps you, just replace the word value with brightness. It means basically the same thing, but in the English language, we like to have a bunch of different words to describe the same thing. Why? We just like to be super difficult and make it super hard to learn how to spell things. I used scarlet mixed with a very small amount of violet and black for my full light block-in color. Then I came down on our color value scale, adding more violet and black, and put a darker version of our full light color for the shadow area of the apple. The reason I used violet in this example is because 1, it's a great darkening option color, and red and blue make up a triad on the color wheel. And if you mix blue and red together, you get purple. And black as a shadow color will pull the red towards a dirt mud direction. And then for the shadow, we're going to add some of our table color into the mix for our block-in tone. More on that in a minute. Now moving back to the full light area, let's start adding some slightly lighter red color around the reflection apex. I'm just adding a small amount of titanium white to my scarlet. Because we are painting a sphere, we will have a single spot of light reflection, and not an edge or an entire side like a cube or rectangle. See my how to draw 3D shapes tutorial video for more info on this. Wow, that was hard to say fast. If we had multiple lights in different directions, we would get something that looked like this. But for this tutorial, we only have to worry about a single light source. For the top of the apple, there was a small shadow area that is created by where the stem descends into the center of the apple. The front side of the concave is in shadow, and that is going to be the same scarlet red mixed with a small amount of black and violet. It's not going to be as dark as the full shadow part of the apple because the area around that spot is going to be bouncing light back at it and making it a little bit lighter. I ended up messing around with the form of the apple because it was slightly off. I absolutely love this about painting. You can paint over mistakes or change something that's just not right. Which, by the way, that stem looks awesome. Anyway, let's not get distracted. Now that we are happy with the full light part of the apple, we can come in with our brightest color and paint the reflection apex. Now, this doesn't have to be pure white, just whatever we decide the top of our tonal range is going to be. And now, it's time for part 2, the shadows. Remember how I said we were gonna have more on the color mixing in a minute? Yeah. My watch is on charge, but you get the idea. If this was a color theory tutorial video, we would be spending a lot of time discussing colors right now. but this isn't a color theory tutorial. So the only thing you need to know is the color of the shadow is a subtle blend of the apple color itself and whatever the floor color is, and whatever is near it. But we're going to be going over the bounce light in the next part of this video. Just stay with me. The color of the background being darker will really help add some depth and give our highlights and shadows something really nice to contrast from. Start with a blend of the scarlet and black and purple. As we talked about earlier, red and blue are part of the primary color triad on the color wheel, and because when you mix them together, they make purple. So sometimes it's a nice option to use as a shadow color. Black will sometimes pull our tones in a mud direction and make it less vibrant, where purple will maintain your piece's vibrancy. An interesting fact about color hues and value are their relativity. Our shadows don't have to be pure black to fit right, and our whites don't have to be pure titanium white either. All we have to do is make sure that our colors are correct relative with the surrounding colors' brightnesses. For instance, it wouldn't look good to have a primary red for the full light part of an apple and then yellow or green as the shadow color, unless you are intentionally choosing those colors for pop art or an abstract piece. But if we are going for realism, then we need to stay within a certain color palette. And for the shadow, let's add a small amount of table brown into the color and blend the shadow as it gets further from the apple. When you use a soft light, there won't be a sharp cut from the shadow to what is in full light, so fade your shadow color into the table. Mixing black with purple and then adding a small amount of our red, we can start adding in our shadows. Be stingy with the black and the purple because it won't take a lot of it to darken the red. Now let's get to my favorite part, the bounce light. We could also call this reflection light. To demonstrate what I mean, let's take a piece of paper and slowly slide it up to our apple. We can see how it gets brighter the closer it gets, and the true color of the apple will be accentuated. But the color on the apple will change depending on what the surface that's reflecting onto it is. We can test this by putting the apple on different colored surfaces, like green, like red, like blue, and so on. We can even create a backlight with just a reflection like so. Our main light is lighting up the piece of paper and it's reflecting light back towards the object. Again, the final color will be a blend between the object and what it's reflecting from. Unless of course you are dealing with a high polished surface like a piece of metal or a mirror, which in those instances, the higher the object's reflectiveness, the less of its own color will be reflected. For our example, the brown table will blend with the dark red of the apple. This will be a very, very subtle color shift in our example because the table isn't very reflective and won't bounce much light like a piece of white paper would. The colors that I eventually put on this bounce light are a mix of scarlet red, violet, black, burnt umber, and cashew. The thing that makes art on a 2D surface look good are the shadows. Wow, that's a really good apple. It's not actually 3D, so the only thing we have are the shadows and contrast to give our painting depth. We are creating an illusion to trick our eyes into thinking the painting has depth. Anyway, if you want more tutorials on basic 3D shapes, then click this video to check out my tutorial on how to draw basic 3D shapes. And I'll see you next time. What the...